Sure.
Yeah, awesome. Awesome, yeah. So, should we get into it then, mate?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Cool. Right. Where I've come into it. DJ name Hugh Whackman.
Right.
Yeah, how did Hugh Whackman come about?
So I'm a turntablist from literally from the 80s, right? I was a break dancer and graffiti, yeah, and then I started DJing. I fell in love with the DJing. First DMC Disco Mix Club competition was in 1987 or 88 in Swansea. And I got through to the night in the heats, and I was known as DJ XL. And first of all, it was XL because I was big. But then, as soon as I read the dictionary and I found out what to excel at something meant, that was it. So I grabbed DJ XL. But now, if you Google DJ XL, there's like endless DJs because people just have no originality now. I've had more names than Jason Bourne, unfortunately. So it was DJ XL, then it was Snare at one point randomly, and then it was Father of Cain for a long time, who was my son, and then it was Bad Meaning Good because everyone just keep taking these names, and then I entered the DMC under a fake name like Stephen King did with the Backman books, so they didn't know it was me, and I just thought what's quite a funny name, and I thought Hugh Jackman. I know we look quite similar as well, but I just thought I would use that word. And in hip hop culture, whack means bad, right? So
Yeah,
people say, and in a lot of the movies, they go, "You whack man, you whack man," and it sounds like Hugh Whackman.
right.
But also the word, I'm a champion DJ, but I'm calling myself whack, so it's
Mm,
sort of ironic name, and it's an unbattable name. You can't battle it because I'm calling myself whack. So if they
yeah,
come up and say, "Well, you're whack man," say, "Yeah, yeah, I know,
yeah,
but I'm proud to be whack," you know.
yeah.
So I
That's
use
amazing.
that. So it's a bit of fun as well. And then when I entered the 2023 DMC, everyone loved the name more than anything else. They go, "Where'd you get that name from?" And it
Mm.
was a talking point. So it was a bit of fun. And like I said, we look very similar, me and Jack. Uh, what's his name? And I just stuck. If I was honest, I'd rather use XL because that's how people know me. Like no one calls me Hugh Wackman, apart from
No.
some of the little kids. They go Hugh, and I think that's we. I don't respond to it because I don't know it. Everyone,
Uh,
everyone in the turntable scene knows me as XL. So,
yeah.
but I just use it. It's with me now forever
No.
because
That's a
I
good
can't.
good backstory, mate. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah,
backstory.
man, it's my origin story. It's like my
Yeah. And the
superhero
fact
story.
that it's sort of unbattleable, it's sort of bouncing it straight back on the toes of somebody coming at you,
Yeah,
mate, isn't
you
it?
can't really do it. It's quite funny, and yeah, call me whack because I am. It's good.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah. So grew up in Cwmbran. So obviously I'm from North Wales. You're South Wales.
Yeah,
Cwmbran, a mining town.
yeah,
You said before, full of hills and stuff like that. So your dad was a miner, yeah?
yeah. He was in the army for many years. He
Mm,
started off where I walked to today, right up the mountain. It used to be called Cumlucky, this place, right at
mm.
the top of the mountain. My dad, unfortunately, he's passed now, but he was 86 when he passed, and he used to walk to school about 6 miles just with a jam jar and a candle and to
Yeah.
school and over the mountains and then back. That was it. That's all. Just and if you go up there, and at night there's nothing. You got to think
No.
this is like 1930s, 1940s. So there's no lights, as in on the mountain. This little kid, and he's walking back and forth. It's just awesome. I was thinking this morning, my dad's been running up and down this mountain all his younger life, and
Mm.
what an amazing experience. Sometimes you think, oh, you've got nothing, and what you're doing up there, living in the sticks, and then you just think it's amazing compared to I was in London 20 years, and
Yeah.
excuse my language, but it pisses all over that. It's just beautiful.
When you finally realise that, I think that again, it's like an epiphany moment when, because
Yeah,
obviously from North Wales and stuff like that. But we did a lot of travelling over in New Zealand and stuff. But everything I seen in New Zealand, it's literally 30 minutes from me over in Snowdon and stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's just sometimes you just can't take it for granted. And I think you only start to realise that when you get a little bit older. But if I can start helping the younger generation start thinking along them lines, let's appreciate what you've got right now. And I'm hoping
yeah.
that can make things better.
It's a tricky one. So yeah, so dad was a miner. He went into the mines really early. I think he was in there like 16. Originally, he went in a few times, but he went into the mines. And back in the day, it was either national service or you could stay in the mines. He used to go on there. Like my old man was awesome. They used to just literally him and his mate Melvin, who was one of his best mates. They used to just go up to horses, grab the mane like that, jump on them, and just run them all over the place. It's just
Yeah.
outrageous. Like us lot, we're babies compared to them, you know. So he
Yeah,
did that.
that's it.
He did that, and then unfortunately, best mate Melvin, they had a face. Do you know the face in the mine? It's really low like that. And it collapsed, and it killed him, and it
No.
set a fire under my dad's ass
Mm.
basically. Thought I'm off. So he went and signed up to the army, South Wales Borders, I think it was. No, it was the Royal Regiment of Wales, I think. Or this, no, it's South Wales Borders originally.
Yeah.
And he just went all over the world in the army. He was in Hong Kong, Malaya, Aden. He was in Ireland, South Africa. He went everywhere. And then, yeah, he was a good old boy. And then he came back. You know, obviously, we moved back to Wales in the 80s, and he got a job in the mine, and he actually hated it. You know, it's like
Yeah.
when he went to the employment office, he said, "You're too old at 40." This is how old. This is wild.
Well,
He was too old at 40 to get a job. They thought he was too old.
no, madness, that mate, isn't it?
Yeah. And
Madness.
he used to work in because we lived in I was born in Folkestone in Kent. Like my mum and dad are from Pontypool in South Wales, but because he was stationed in I think a place called Lydney down by and he worked in Dungeness Power Station. He was an industrial painter, and he was a pigeon man. My dad, all his life, we had pigeons all the time. So he'd paint the place, and by the time he finished the one, he'd have to start it again. And he used to get all
Mm.
these pigeons. So he had about 500 pigeons at a loft, and everyone used to bring in the pigeons and stuff over.
Well,
Um,
not racing pigeons, no.
racing,
Oh wow. Yeah,
yeah, all
that's
races
amazing.
because
Yeah.
they were close to because we were on the coast. Used to get them
Mm.
all over from Belgium and France and stuff. So we'd have
Wow.
all the rings, and there's not one time in my life I haven't heard
Yeah.
out of our window because we always used to have pigeons like
Yeah, that's
forever,
mental.
even
Yeah,
till
that's
he
mental.
passed. Only a year before he passed. But yeah,
Yeah.
Dad was an amazing bloke. He all over the world, a beautiful singer as well. That's where I think I got my musical sort of inclinations from. And like he was
Cool.
like a Pavarotti type, and I think he could have gone quite far. And he chose the relationship thing with my beautiful
Mm.
ma. But he told me a lot of stories. He had a singing tutor and all this sort of stuff, and they really sort of were going to try and push him because he was a good-looking dude. He was like a Steve McQueen type guy. He
Mm.
looked, he was amazing looking, my old man,
Yeah.
and he was a simple dude, and he didn't want anything. So my mum snagged him, and that was the end of it. And
Yeah.
date two, they were looking at sofas in Pontypool on the
Wow.
high street. My dad said your mum had to be
True love,
looking at
mate.
sofas. Day two,
Yeah.
dude. Date
Yeah.
two.
No, they don't make them like that anymore, mate. They don't make them like that anymore. I can tell you that now.
Holy shit. That doesn't exist anymore. My
No.
throat goes.
No,
Yeah,
no
so
worries.
dad was
Nice. Yeah, cool. So then your first DMC entry then was
yeah,
I think 1987 Martha's Vineyard in Swansea. Is that
that's
right?
right. I think it was either 87 or 88, but let's just say 87 for,
Mm.
Yeah, and before that, I was a break dancer. I was really into
Yeah.
break dancing. Me and my mate who I live with now, Breakdance the movie came out. That was game over. We had
Mm.
it was a video of how to, and me and my mate used to go down and rent it from Tony's shop up the road there. It was
Yeah.
like 20 pence a night to rent this how to break dance. So we locked it out for ages and ages and just used
Yeah.
to sort of get practicing. And we didn't realize that it was about 10 or 15 other little crews around where we lived in Cwmbran, all the same. And then we used to go downtown with cardboard, and we all met, formed a crew, Crazy Rock, and that's how we developed, because it was electro, street sounds music. It wasn't really hip hop at the time. It was very early hip hop. It was mostly
Yeah.
electro. And then we all sort of developed into a crew, LSD Posse, of course.
In the
And
80s,
then we
yeah.
sort of found our way. I didn't have turntables, but one of my mates had a realistic mixer and Memorex decks. Ricky Lynch, good guy. And we used to go down to his house, and we just had an affinity for it. I just sort of had the musicality. And then Dad got made redundant from the mine, amongst other things. The miners' strike, that actually killed him. He was like vicious, absolutely vicious, like for my
Yeah.
dad. He went a bit wonky on them. He was on tablets. He was really aggressive, not with us, but he just couldn't handle it. Hated the government type thing. I mean, we used to have newspapers, and he'd be writing stuff on it. He really lost the plot because it was Thatcher, and it really affected him. He had 4 kids, no money, had to scrape, couldn't go and get a job, and it really really damaged him mentally for a long time. And he was on tablets for years, taking tablets, like to calm him down from the stress. But he come through, and he got made redundant finally after they returned. And he bought me the decks, the Technics 1210s.
Yeah. Was that then because you'd shown an interest in obviously the breakdance and stuff like that? Is that where you said, "Listen, Dad, I want a set of decks"?
Well, I realised that I was, even though I didn't have decks myself, I could tell I was pretty good at it. Even though I didn't have decks, I was the sort of DJ, because I would go to someone else's house and I could just sort of pick it up. And you got to think,
Yeah.
as you know, you didn't have YouTube, none of this stuff existed. Like, you couldn't see it anywhere. So we used to hear it on a couple of tracks, and I used to try and. So I don't know if you ever, like I said, you're younger than me, but we used to have these old record players, and they used to have a spindle in the middle, and they drop 8. You could put 8 songs on them, 8,
Yeah.
like a jukebox, and they go, boom, one would come down, and the record would come out. Play.
Is that called an 8-track? Is it?
Well, it was just a record player, and it would drop
Oh, yeah.
8 7s, 8 45s. It would go 1, play the other one, that would come up, then it would drop the other one.
Okay.
So, but what it was direct drive, so you couldn't pull it back. There was no belt on it, and it had an up fader, just one up fader, only about this big, so big. So I sawed the spindle off it and snapped the plastic bit off, so it was just open. Sawed that down, and then I put a record on, and I could scratch with an up fader. And then I just used to listen to Kiss FM when it was illegal when they were on a ship doing it. There's a guy called
Pirate
Richie
ship.
Rich. Yeah, they were doing that, and I listened to Richie Rich, this other guy, and he was scratching this word fresh, going fresh, and you had to work it out. And then the Magnificent Jazzy Jeff track came out by Jazzy Jeff, and I thought, what is this? What the hell is this? So I was trying to work it out by ear, because you couldn't see any of it. He goes, some DJs are good, some DJs are fresh, and all this sort of stuff, and you're trying to work out what they're doing. And then I heard DJ Cheese won the World DMC World Final, rocking back to back. So check out my music on the funky scratch. And he was doing all these things like that. It was just amazing. And I think I had a cassette tape of that. Someone had a tape, and that was it. I was just hooked by it. So when I had the opportunity, I said, Dad, I want decks. He bought me them, and I had to pay him back. And recently, I said when he passed, I was clearing the attic out, and I've found the repayment book with my name on it and then my dad's name on it, and it was 15 quid a week.
Wow.
And he bought me 2 of these, and I think they were 300 quid each then, and that was like 1984, 5, something like that. But I couldn't use them because I had them both lying there on the floor, and I didn't have the money for the mixer. So I had to wait for the mixer, and I didn't have any records. And I only had £2.50 originally when I first started, pocket money, £2.50 a week. So it took
But the fire was lit, though, mate. The fire was lit.
Game over. And then literally from starting, it took me a year to get to my first heat, which was Martha's Vineyard in Swansea. And I didn't win, but I did really well in there. I remember doing a mix with Pinocchio, I've Got No Strings, and Public Enemy, the song Public Enemy #1. He goes, I got no strings to hold me. And I was going,
wow.
And then because it was a lot different then. It was the Disco Mix Club. So in the 90s, 80s, there was still a lot of mix-in records. It was mostly mix-in records together, blending, whatever you want to call it. And then the turntablism, which wasn't coined then, that term, but the scratch DJing sort of found its way into it. I remember I did a mix with Planet Rock, African Bambaataa, and heard it through the grapevine, Marvin Gaye. And after I finished it, this was on my heat, some guy wanted to produce it. That's how wild that was, because it was all about mixing, and people didn't know how to do this back in the day. It was like just mixing 2 records together. It was an art, very different. It was very performative, very like dancing. My 1990s set, I'm literally dancing. It's the most embarrassing thing you've ever seen, but it's awesome at the same time. I mean, I've literally got a flat top with tram lines running through it, a Jordan t-shirt on, a gold chain, shell suit trousers tucked up, and then one of the pockets hanging out on my video, and then sweatbands as well. It's like everything you can think of hip hop. That was me. But
I think that's the 80s. That's the 80s on a postcard there, mate.
It was. Do you know what it was? And it was the best time as well, dude. Like my lifestyle now. I lived in London 20 years. I was in Barcelona a year, Wolverhampton. I've been all over the place. But I live like I'm in the 80s, like now. Mentally, I try and focus like have the same naivety because everything's too advanced. This everything everyone's too. I feel everyone's very too aggressive, a little bit aggressive. They don't
Yeah.
give it any space. There's no time. Everybody wants it done and immediately.
Mm.
And like I used to love going to knock my mate. I was explaining to the kids the other day. I said if my mate wasn't in, I couldn't text him. I'd go knock his door. He wasn't there. I'd go to my next mate, and that could be at 40 minutes away. I'd
Mm.
walk up his house. Is Robin? No, he's not. Okay, off to the next one.
Yeah.
And it's I try and now I'm trying to relive that. Not because I'm an old fart, which I am, but just the simple side of it, the
The
simplicity of it.
simplicity of it, mate. Yeah, I get
Trying
it.
to get back to that a little bit because it was
Mm.
a little bit more honest, I think. I'm not knocking
Yeah.
everything down. You grow up now, you grow up now. It's awesome. You're
Yeah.
lucky to be alive. But like the movies were awesome. The music was awesome. Everything was amazing. Like, I grew up with my three sisters, Maria, Teresa, and Lisa, and it was I was obsessed by Adamant, and they were all into Boy George and Spandau Ballet, and I used to crimp my hair and put purple mousse on it and all this sort of stuff. And I had a brilliant upbringing with my sisters with all this amazing music. And then
Yeah.
John Peel got us started. Thanks, John Peel. I used to wait up at night, had a cassette player, and he'd play one hip hop track when it first came out, mostly always James Brown songs. And I press record like that, and then pause, and then next week I'd wait again like that. And this is from so and so and so, boof, KRS-One, boom, and then you'd make these amazing mixtapes, and
Yeah.
that's how it made. Uh,
Cool.
it was naive. It was awesome. It was all analog. No one had anything. I was speaking to someone yesterday, and I was in TK Maxx trying about 7 or 8 pieces of clothing on, which I didn't really need. I just thought kill a bit of time. But I remember I knew every one of my mates by their jackets. I could see them down the road, and I knew that was so and so, and I knew that was so and so because
Yeah.
I had a yellow jacket with these brown like buffer patches here, and toggles, and everyone knew me for that jacket. It's now looking across there, got jeans, all this, all these clothes, all those trainers.
Mm.
It's too much,
Uh,
dude.
yeah, it's crazy the amount of money. I've got two nephews as well, mate. Yeah, and some of the stuff they think like 800-900 pound for jumpers and stuff like that. It's just
Mental.
it is crazy to me, mate. Yeah, and I think what I'm trying to achieve as well is to not to completely go back to sort of your era, my era, but to try and get that little bit of cohesion, is to say let's just make things a little bit simpler for ourselves. Like you mentioned, we're so fast to get stuff done, to be places, to jump in a car, to race off. Let's just
Yeah,
try and take a step back and start working out the simpler things in life. Like I think families are drifting as well. I think families are drifting apart from stuff like not getting on and stuff like that. I just think let's take it back to a simpler time. The technology is great. I get it. We can use it. Let's try and use it to our advantage. But let's try and get round our mates around the table again. Let's get out in the fresh air and stuff like that. I think.
the family thing's difficult because my mum and dad came from his age. I know everything he knows, right? And we're both as savvy as each other on technology. But my mum and dad were far removed from that. They're from the war sort of era,
Mm.
just after the war. They weren't in the war, but my grandfather was in like an Italian prisoner in a war camp, and they treated him absolutely terribly. Like my dad used to. I don't know if you've heard of him. His name is Mario Lanza. He's a singer like Pavarotti. One of the most. He was described as the first ever pop star. Mario Lanza. Just check him out. He's the most beautiful voice you'll ever hear. But before Pavarotti, and my dad was so in love with that because he was a singer. He called him Maria, Teresa, and Lisa. And then obviously my grandfather hated it because he didn't. It was like Italian sort of sounding names,
Yeah.
and they treated him very badly in the Second
Okay.
World War in the camp. He was in a prisoner of war camp. I mean that the distance between my mum and dad and me was massive. As in,
Mm.
like they like look my wall right. It's just my mum and dad. All it is my mum and dad.
Yeah.
My beautiful sister died in December this year, and it just really killed me. Really, it was very difficult to handle, sort of unexpected, and like mum and dad were so good to me, all right, but they didn't guide me in any ways. They give me amazing morals and respect, opening door, don't chuck stuff on the floor, be nice to people, be friend to older people, because that's, they got a lot of experience. And they loved me, and they had nothing. My mum and dad never had money, always made food for us. My dad would go out of his way. Used to watch Steptoe and Son on a Friday night, and instead of, he would work in the pit, and it was miles away in Blaenavon, and then Pontypool. He'd go halfway, and then he'd get off, buy us all fish and chips and a Mars bar, and he'd walk the rest of the way. I mean, he'd just done like 12-hour shift under the ground, like dead. And then he'd come home, give us fish and chips, and what's it called? Steptoe and Son was on. I always remember it. It was just awesome. Smell of the vinegar, because I always have extra vinegar on there, and then a Mars bar with me and my three sisters. He'd work his ass off.
That's it. There was a work ethic there that's unquestioned, mate, and there was a work ethic back then.
It's for us, but there was such a gap, as in, like, he didn't really understand what we were doing, what I was doing, and so not in any other way. Like, they were amazing, they cared for me amazingly well, but from about 13, 14 on, it was like the Wild West, really, because I was, and the same with a lot of my friends, we didn't have that guidance, as in, like now, holy shit, like you've got to do your A levels, then you've got to do this, then you're going to do this. And their parents plan everything out. You're going to football at this. I played rugby really, to quite a high level. And that's the one thing my mum focused on a lot when I was a kid. But really, other than that, they didn't have an active structure for me. We lived on this mountain, and boom, I was up there every single day. I was really into bird nesting, watching birds and all this sort of stuff. And then you start meeting these others, and it's like the Wild West. Like, we started drinking at 13. I was 13, drinking barley wine, these little tiny cans of barley wine, really strong stuff, and then parties at everyone's house, and it was crazy. Like, it was really crazy, man. It's like, and they didn't know any of this. They didn't know, so I had to find my own way, like most men do. Like older dudes, no one tells you what to do. You get into a fight, you get punched out, or you punch someone, and then you learn from that. You go to a job and they treat you like crap, or they treat you well. You learn from that. There was no rule books. It is very different. It was very different. I was on my own, even though they loved me. Mentally, I had to. I think, especially as dudes, you have to develop very quickly. What I think that does, it gives you a great sense of humor as well. Because you see so much going on, and you either have to be the funny guy, right, or you're the hard man, or you're the love interest for all the girlies. And if you can be all three, like me, then you've made it.
That's it. So you've got that persona, mate. But I get it. Like I said, I've got a couple of nephews as well, and I see the difference in the times that we're sort of in now. We were similar to you. Grew up in a similar sort of vein. I was probably out clubbing 14, 15 years old. Back in the 90s and stuff like that. So times have changed, and I think sometimes, I'm not saying people are mollycoddled now, but you've got to get that little bit of grit back in you and get that bit of determination to sort of succeed. Get that work ethic. Things aren't going to drop in your lap. You've got to get out and work harder. I think that's one of the main things.
Yeah, you said it right. It doesn't sit in your lap fall in your lap because, like, my last 2 years when I was living in London, I struggled hard. Like, I was depressed. Like, I'll be honest, I went to see someone about it, and I had this amazing girlfriend, a Sardinian girl. That, like, I shouldn't call her Italian because she used to go mental. I'd call her that, but a really amazing person. Yeah, I met her. I was in a low place. I had a crap job. I couldn't get a job for a while. I was using my credit card to pay my rent because it's really expensive. Couldn't get on top. Then everything started. I had one of these crises. I was 40 something, and I just started thinking, oh, what am I doing here? A lot of my friends had left, gone back to, because it's a very transient city. Gone back to Australia or New Zealand or wherever, and I was left there sort of on my own. Even I had friends, and I was just like existing for a while, just trying to get thinking. And I met this girl. She used to work in Costa, a lovely girl. And I ended up going out with her for a while, but then I just couldn't handle it. I was like really sort of, my self-esteem went, because I didn't have any money. And then I wasn't DJing. I still looked after myself, but And then it started getting that. Do you know one thing? I'd never really been jealous in my life, and I started getting jealous of her when she used to go out and stuff like this with her friends, and
Yeah.
like she was, and there was no need for it, but it was me, and like I was so low,
Yeah.
I was thinking I just couldn't see it, and I remember she said to me, she goes, "You're one of the greatest guys I've ever met, but I can't go out with you anymore." I said, "It's
Mm.
just too intense, dude. You're too much. It's too much." So we
Yeah. Yeah.
finished. She finished with me, and I started seeing, went to see this woman on a Wednesday once a week, and it really, like, I'd cycle. It was miles away in London, all up these huge hills. I'd go and see her, and she was in her fourth year of psychology. Really, really, I forgot what her name was. Awesome woman, and she really put me through my paces. And a lot of the problems you think you had, it's not even related to what you think it is. It was a lot of other stuff, and
Yeah.
she helped me a lot, I think. And I went to the doctors, and when I first went in there, I was like this. I was so anxious. He said, if I didn't know any other that you told me you're anxious, I would have thought you were on hard drugs. He said, I'd
Yeah.
be honest with you. He said, your anxiety. I was like this constantly, like I was couldn't I was like couldn't get my breath. And then
Yeah.
like I remember this guy was downstairs, only a young lad, playing his music, and that used to get me fucking bear sick. I wanted to go at him, like. And then I remember all I wanted to watch was comedies on TV. I was trying on like DVDs. I'd go in bed and it was depression,
Yeah.
and I really didn't. I was on my own. I didn't know what to do with it. And then I started getting this thing. I got frozen shoulder, and this is all while I was going this. So that was a nightmare. It locked me here, all right. And then I had physio for that and a lot of pain. Then I started getting tinnitus really
Yeah.
bad. So I was all the time, and then I got a bone spur, and they had to have surgery on this one, and it just escalated, and and it got to this point where me and her finished, and I just thought, what? I just got rid of the triggers. So first thing I
Mm.
did, luckily I got a job. It was a good job, and I found a load of new friends. I stopped. I cut myself off from women because I'd never been without a girlfriend since I've been 13, 14. Not
Yeah.
once in my life. Always had a woman, yeah. Because I love girls. Like, they're awesome. I grew up with four of them, but like women are awesome. But I just thought, right, kill this off. And the doctor said, don't drink coffee and don't look at the newspapers. And I did exactly what he said. And it really fucking, excuse my language, it really helped.
Yeah.
Like, get rid of my anxiety. And I just stayed away from it, the relationship side of things. And I started going from there.
Yeah.
And I started cycling, and that made a massive difference. Like, my health starting to improve. And then I saw this documentary on YouTube called Dairy is Scary, about the way they treat the cows in the dairy industry. And I just thought, shit. I mean, I used to love milk. I used to remember when we had milkmen, and they used to deliver it to the door, and the blue tits would be on the top, pecking all the
Yeah.
cream off.
Get a bit of the cream. Yeah.
But I saw that, and I just thought, fuck, man, that's cruel as fuck. So, am I allowed to swear? Is that right?
Yeah. You find all about me. Yeah.
So I just said, I was like, fuck me. I've never really been aware of it. I just see a cow and I feel, oh, cow. Never thought anything about it myself. Even, what was I, 40, 47, 48, under 47, 48. And I saw that and I thought, shit, man, that is rough. So
Yeah.
I knocked it on the head. And then as I was cycling, I was really starting to get fit, because I was doing like 10 miles to work and then 10 miles back. I was doing like almost 100 miles a week just cycling. My legs
Yeah.
started getting big. I was getting lean. And then as it does, you lead into other forms of fitness. And then I saw the whole thing about the red meat, how that can be carcinogenic, and how the in the arteries and stuff like the cholesterol. And it just led to one thing after another. And I cut chicken out, and then I cut fish out. And then I cut all these other things out. And then when I moved actually back to Wales, I went to Barcelona for a year, then I moved back to Wales. Eggs was the only thing I was obsessed with, because Dad, when I was a kid, he used to make me eggs. He'd make me 12 scrambled eggs in a bowl. 12. In a bowl. Like this. I remember I had a big orange bowl, and it was for cornflakes and scrambled egg. That was it, right? He used to come, he'd make all these eggs. I could hear him doing it like that. And a brown mug, and I'd sit there, and non fail, he would make me that before I went to work, right, every morning, like, and it was 12 fucking eggs. So I was addicted to these things, but eventually I got rid of it, sold all of my trainers, and it changed my mindset. It made it. I did it initially because of the animals, because I felt really guilty, right? And then I thought, shit, it's really, when you look into it, it's rough. I just watched
Yeah.
one this morning. People like these people beating these poor little things, even in the slaughterhouses, they can't leave them alone.
Mm.
They're kicking them in the face and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh man, like I tried to put a post on there said if I saw you doing that, I'd beat the shit out of you, and then it wouldn't let me. Right? It'll let them beat the crap out of an animal, little poor little
Yeah.
animal, but it won't let me say the word shit.
No,
It's
that's it, mate. Yeah. There's no free speech, mate, is there? No,
You
free
can't say
speech is
the word
dying.
shit about people who are pieces of shit like that.
Yeah.
So I it, the point I'm trying to get to, I'll get to the point in a minute, is I went from a really bad place in London. Then just what you mentioned very early on when we were talking off camera, that one thing changed the catalyst of me cycling. Right,
Yeah.
I cut out the girlfriend thing, so there was no stress, not for now. And I just thought, right, that's number one. And I started feeling better because I didn't have to.
Mm.
I wasn't worrying about where she was going, and that was my own fault. So I felt better. Then I got a job. Self-esteem went up, and the guys I was working with were awesome. I had a really good group of lads and girls as well. And then I started cycling, so my fitness started kicking in, and
Mm.
it changed it. And then when I went that sort of sudden, changed the whole mindset. I came to Wales. I ended up going my job in an insurance company. My son's girlfriend got me a job. I don't know, it wasn't ideal, but it was a job, and it was a start back after Barcelona. And it made me realize I can do anything I want at the click of a finger if I really wanted to it, yeah.
Yeah.
And shift your whole life's work at 46, 47 to eating meat to not eating meat is not easy to do. Most people can't do it. I'm not
Mm.
about being a vegan. I'm just saying having the strength to shut something out like that after so
Yeah.
many years. Here's an example. Dad, just before Dad passed, a couple of years, about a year ago in March, I was making him a ham and cheese sandwich, and my mouth started salivating,
Mm.
right? Because I wanted to eat it. Because my body is like ham and cheese toasty, fucking Worcestershire sauce on it. My mouth started going, I'm not one of these people who won't touch meat. It's like, if you
Yeah.
eat meat, you eat meat. And it's my dad. So I made him this sandwich, and my mouth was going, I could smell the strong, mature cheese and all the ham. Shit, that's lush. But I'm proud of myself in that respect. And if I can do that, I can do everything else. If you can shut that off after all those years of conditioning, you can do anything you want. I really believe that.
Yeah, I think it's an important sort of milestone in your life as well to say, and I totally agree with what you're saying. To completely take a different stance and a different pivot, it's one of those things where it's like setting a New Year's resolution. People will get to the 31st of January and that's it, they're done. Whereas if you stick at something, you say, right, this is now my new thought process. This is now my mentality, and you do stick with it. It's regardless of what it is, whether it's veganism, whether it's quitting something.
Anything. I'm just using that because it was me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It starts to give you that. It starts to give you that sense of not so much reality, but that sense of accomplishment and that sense of achievement to say, well, actually, I can go on to do it no matter what. As long as I put my mind to it. And becoming a vegan is a really good example of that as well, mate. Yes.
I've applied that to my work ethic. So I did this for the job, and I was thinking, I really hate this job. And luckily, I got a link. Someone said I was talking to a guy. I was living in a flat, and I was outside putting the washing up. Some guy was next door. It was a derelict house, but the guy who owned it, it was his grandson, who was like 40, and he worked for the dole office. What's it called now? I don't know.
Yeah, job centre.
I know it's the dole. And he said, I got chatting. He said, what do you do? I said, I've been a DJ for many years. So I know someone who's looking for somebody who's they want to do DJing in schools. Give me the link. And that was it. And it was Grant Music. They were awesome. There's a guy called Simon, really lovely guy. Give me a start. Bought me a load of equipment, and it was great for a while. It didn't work out in the end. It's like everyone moves on, but he was a lovely guy and he got me a start. But then I just thought, I got used to the time. Like, this is before my mum passed away first. Like because my mum went, then my dad went, then my sister's gone, and I just sort of just got used to, just fed up of death thing, you know. You get that,
Yeah.
like when my mum died, it really fucked me up really bad. Like, not to the point I see a lot of people, they go drink and stuff like that. I don't drink anymore either, and I don't smoke or
Yeah.
anything like that.
That's good.
But she was so amazing to me, like such a massive part of my life. It was tough to deal with. It's like shit. It's like for 50, what was it? How old was she then? 52 years I've had a mum, and now like this is that whole thing is
Gone.
gone. It's like there was this alleyway where I lived, and the parents used to walk their kids in the morning to get to their school, and all I used to hear was "Mummy, Daddy, Mummy, Mummy, Daddy," and I actually used to listen to it sometimes. I think I can never say that again. It's like it's fucking weird, isn't it? It's such a strange concept. It's like you
Yeah.
can't call them up. Like even my poor sis, like I'd phone her 3 or 4 times a day. She wasn't very well. I'd phone her up and she'd call me asshole, you know, from the fucking Meet the Fockers. She loved The Sopranos, but I'd phone her and I'd say something about somebody, and they say, "Yeah, he's a fucking asshole," and we'd have a chat, and then she'd tell me about things and you know how things in her life, and I feel I'm so used to going to the phone, and it's fucking gone, mate. It's like
Mm.
so that really influenced me, as in the time thing. So going back to like this guy Simon put me on, and then I just thought, shit, having this time off, you know, I made enough of my rent. I had nothing, but I had all this time to keep growing, right? And what I did with the vegan thing, I'm trying to do with the job, and just trying to focus on, you know, trying to, and I say make money, but it's really freeing up more time so I can do stuff I want to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a challenge. Like not last year, year before last, I made 8 grand. That's it. I was
Right.
on my ass. I was really on my ass. And I thought, how the fuck am I going to do this? This is what I said about going to get a job in the Tesco. And I'm not knocking that job. I've worked every job you can think of, really have. But I thought, look, I've been working so hard to get this, and I'm making 8 fucking grand. But you got all this amazing time, and then you just think, shit, gives me more time to do what I want. And then when you really look at it, what are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to be the best at something, or you just want to be happy? Do you want to be
Yeah.
happy, have enough to live, right? Get some nice threads so you can go up the mountain and get nice. Because, or do you want to? What are you trying to prove? Are you trying to prove it to somebody else, or
Yeah.
what do you actually need? I've stripped out. I'm really got. I've got my clothes. I've got my laptop. I've got my DJ stuff, and I've just got an FX3 camera, which is amazing. I'm going to get back into filmmaking, and I write screenplays. I really love writing movies. So what I really want to do is just sit my ass down and write movies, but
Yeah.
you can't do that at the moment because I need money, and to make money through screenwriting is almost impossible.
I suppose the advice and the lesson from that is, if you are going to change your stance on something, and you are going to completely pivot, then if you go all in on it, then what you get from that and the sense of achievement is what I'm trying to sort of pass on to people and stuff like that. That if you are stuck in a cycle, then it's never too late to sort of just listen. I want to change.
Yeah,
So yeah, it is an interesting story, mate. It's a really good story. It's a good lesson. There's a good lesson there. Yeah.
yeah. It's not easy. I mean, like you'd be surprised how many people, like, because you're vegan, for example, like you'd think being against killing something or hurting somebody or something is a good thing. It's
Mm.
fucking mad. I don't get into it with anybody now because I've heard every argument. I've heard all the stuff. I'm not an activist or any of that sort of stuff. But
No.
I do respect those guys because they get a lot of shit, and all they're really trying to do, they're not trying to tell you what to do. They're just trying to say, look, imagine it was your dog or
Mm.
your loved one, your beloved pet. How would you feel if they did that to that poor little thing? You know, how can you kick the fuck out of something like that? You know, and how
Yeah.
can you? It's just bad. It's
It's
serial killer
inhumane, isn't it?
action.
Mm.
It's
That's
like,
it.
if you think of it, it's like serial killers, man. They like the first thing they do, they hurt animals because they can. And I'm not knocking people, but when you actually think of the psychology of what's happening, it's pretty brutal. I never thought about it before, but I live in Wales and it's like sheep every. And saying I don't know if it's where you are rurally, but sheep everywhere. And you grow up with all this. There's a little sheep there, but really, it's going to get fucked up.
Yeah, it's gonna get slaughtered. Yeah,
It's getting cut, and you see all these beautiful cows and all this stuff, and then even like horse, like when you smell like cow shit and all this, you think it's an artificial smell because they shouldn't exist. That shouldn't really be part of the ecosystem because they're bred for something else. So
yeah, bred for slaughter. Yeah,
yeah, so really it's a strange thing, and I've had a lot of problems with people just like, so I don't talk about it now. Only
yeah,
people I trust, anything we use trust, and they're surprised. A lot of people go, "You don't eat, you don't eat animals." I said, "No." Why? And then if someone
yeah,
says that, then I know, and they say, "Yeah, but what if I hear? But what about?" I just go,
yeah. That's it. Just switch off, mate. Yeah, I was the same. I stopped drinking. I haven't drank for a good number of years now. And you go out. Obviously, my close mates and that they understand. But someone will sit down and say, "What? You don't drink? You don't drink alcohol?" It's like
"You're
you've got.
weird." No, they do. They look at you like
Yeah,
the last time I had a drink was the before my dad died. He used to like we used to have woodpecker cider. I don't know if you heard of that. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
but it used to come in flagons, and when we was a kid, he didn't mind us having a drink. We'd have a drink of that. So I used to on a Friday we'd go shopping, and he was he's in the hospital bed in his room. He'd had carers 5 times a day. And like on a Friday, it was my day. I'd go there and I'd sleep over and made up a bed, and I'd look after him all day, and we sort of took turns. And I remember I've got it here. He got his little sippy cup, like a baby sippy cup, because his hand was like this, yeah. And so he got a baby cup. It's devastating.
yeah,
But I remember I filled it with cider, and that was the last time I had a drink. Like the first time I had a like drink for ages. I would drink with him, like only a little sip. He won't, he was dying. So and then the last time I had a drink was I literally last August. I went to Spain with me in Barcelona with my mate, and we had gin. We had a gin, and I got drunk on gin. But I don't drink. But I'll have a drink if I'm with people I love and care about. Like
yeah.
I've never sort of abused it in that respect. I used to drink hard when I was a kid, but I never had a problem with it in any way. So it's not that. It's just I know how poisonous it is now. Like I sound like a right boring twat. I promise I'm not that boring,
No,
but
no, it's not, mate. No, I'm in the same vein of life, mate. Yeah, exactly,
it
exactly. Yeah,
actually
definitely.
ruins you. It actually fucks you up really bad. Like, it took
I
me,
think alcohol's one of the worst as well when you think about it. Yeah,
yeah, it took me almost because in Barcelona they have, say that's the bottle, this much is gin and this much is
Uh, yeah, yeah,
top.
yeah.
Very different world. Like ours is like this, theirs is
Mm.
like that, and then so I had 2 or 3 of them. Holy shit! Because he lives in the sticks. We got a taxi back. How we got back? We were arming around each other, holding each other up this steep hill like that in Barcelona, right up in the sticks in Carver country, just grapes everywhere. And it took me 4 days to get over that. 4 days. And then when I
Yeah.
was a kid, I used to go out Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday work, Wednesday, Thursday, and then repeat and I would puke I
Mm.
would puke every night because I would drink so much. That's how rough. And I can't believe I did it to myself. It's fucking mental, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And the hangovers now, mate. The hangovers are different now. 4 or 5 day hangovers now, mate. Yeah,
I didn't like it.
crazy.
That's why I don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw me some bones. What do you want me to
Yeah,
talk?
yeah. So from there, then, mate. So what was the sort of inspiration? Obviously, you'd had 6 attempts at the DMC, and
Yeah.
then you were runner up 3 times. What was the inspiration then to get back on the horse and say, "Listen, I want to have another crack at this, and I'm going to win it."
Okay, so I moved to Barcelona in 2017, straight from London. 17? Yeah, I moved straight into my mate Stu and his wife Anya's pad. It was amazing. They let me go and stay there. And I started like on Meetup, a DJ school over there, and then couldn't get that off the ground. So I was only there for about a year, and then I had to come back. But before I went to Barcelona, I started practicing again when I was living in London, and that's where the name Hugh Whackman came from because you have to enter a video into the DMCs first, and if they think you're good enough, then you get in, and then you go into the final. So I made this video like 7 years ago, Hugh Whackman, and I never entered it, so because I didn't want anyone to know it was me, XL. So
Yeah,
I just put this Hugh Whackman, and I did all these new tricks sort of things, and I didn't enter it, and I just had this video. So in 2023, I saw it, and I had this video, and I just did it for a piss take, and I just thought, right, because 1998 was the last time I come second to Prime Cut, and then I come second, and then it was Tony Vegas was third, the Scratch Perverts.
Yeah.
That was my last battle, 98. So I whacked it in, and they fucking said, "Congratulations, you're in the you've got into the UK final." It's 7 years old, this video,
Yeah.
and I didn't have turntables. I'd sold them quite a long time ago. Before I went to when I come back from Barcelona, I sold the whole thing. So I didn't have any decks, I didn't have a mixer, didn't have anything, and it was 3 weeks away. So I borrowed my mate Jamie Winchester's turntables. I went and bought a mixer, and then right after that, literally 2 days later, I broke my finger.
Yeah. You fell off a bike, did you?
Yeah, I snapped my finger like that. I was fucking around no-handed, wasn't I, like this? Because I had shopping on my back, and I was doing like that, going down this like riverfront part. And I was I'm amazing at no-handed. I cycle everywhere no-handed, but I had the weight on me, and I didn't think, and the bars just went bonk like that. I grabbed the bar, and it snapped my fucking top of my finger like that. So, and then I got flu as I was practicing, and then I didn't know what to do. As in, like, I had 3 weeks to get this set together, and I remember trawling through all my old videos and all my own sound bites, and I found a couple of things that I'd done all those years ago, and I had a book of tricks that I'd written in that 2017, which I was going to enter, and I just cobbled this shit together. And I knew I wouldn't be able to get technically up to the standard quick enough, so I just relied on what I know I'm good at, which was the showmanship side of stuff, and that's how I was known, coming up with tricks and ideas. I worked really hard, but I was so ill. I was really, really, really sick with the flu, and I got my mate over, and he looked at it, and he just went, "Yeah, that's it." And then
That's good.
I didn't know what was going to happen. It happened in Boomtown Festival, and it was on the 50th anniversary of the hip hop's birthday, and I ended up winning it. I went in there, and I won the thing, and that's how I met Dan Prince from DMC, and that's the rest is history. Then I went to San Francisco for the world final, and then I was ill there as well. I was only there 3 days, and I got like bronchitis, and I was so sick. It was unbelievable.
So how did you get on in the World Championships in San Francisco then? So
I knew I wouldn't place. Well,
Yeah.
I wouldn't place because number one, San Fran or SF, can't call it San Fran. They hate that; they'll beat you up. SF is scratch heavy. It's where the Scratch Pickles, Qbert, and all those. And I was in Japan in '95 with those guys. Anyway, I showed them the crab scratch, which they use now, and there's a sort of debate who invented it. But,
take the credit for that one.
Yeah, well, I do. I definitely do. But you know, it's been modified, and all that. Everyone says if we'd had a camera back then, there wouldn't have been any just there wouldn't have been any problems because I would have posted it everywhere. That's the only time I wish I had fucking technology.
Yeah.
You know, San Francisco is quite scratch heavy. There's a lot of turntablists there, and they're really into the scratch. And my style of DJing was very much not that. It's more like a UK style with a lot of showmanship and stuff like that. So I knew I wouldn't place there. But I think I come 5th or 6th in the actual votes. But in the public vote, I was second, and the Aussie guy Max Best was number one. For showmanship, we won it really.
Yeah,
but it was amazing. I had a brilliant time. But I was really, really ill. Like we had a meet and greet on the Thursday night. I literally got out of bed, went down. It was down in the Tenderloin in San Francisco, which is rough as hell. It's like just full of fentanyl users and stuff. It was really bad.
Yeah.
So such a shame those people like dealing with that shit. And then I come straight back to bed. But on all the photographs you can see I'm like sweating. I've just got this massive fever. And then I think it was on the Saturday night I went there, and I was so sick. I was so ill. And then I had all this equipment because I use a lot of props and stuff. And I turned around and my mate had gone home. He wasn't very well, so he'd gone home in a taxi. So I was there on my own. I was sick as hell. I had to carry all this stuff. I hadn't practiced in 8 days, and I managed to get about an hour's practice early. I went down really early to have a go. And my whole routine was the turntable was upside down, playing it with an elastic band underneath it, and then doing tone play, and then the camera on top. And I was moving it like this, and taking the video of all the crowd. And there's like 2,000 people, 3,000 in there. and I had no idea if it was going to work. I just turned it upside down. It actually worked, and I had all these props, went through it, and it was amazing. And then the one part, I was doing this thing, needle dropping with my chin, with my lip on the needle, dropping it in, and then dropping the beats with this hand. Because I'm so sweaty, my glasses just go boom like that, and it put me off beat. So I had to go into a completely different beat and start freestyling a different beat. And
Oh yeah.
I tried to put them back up, and it just went, and it falls back down again.
I bet people
And
will think
I
it was
was
part of the
just
show,
so
mate. Yeah.
well. I was so rough. But do you know what, mate? I went up there and I was shitting my brick, like fucking shit. I'm in the world final. All these years, I'm in the
Yeah.
world final, and I
Yeah.
thought, fuck it. I had all these great. I pretended that I'd been out with the scratch pickles the night before, and I pretended to puke in this little bucket, like I went all this sort of stuff. And I ran out on stage, and I went. It was at this moment he realised he fucked up that meme, and I chucked
Yeah.
it over the judges, and it was confetti, American flag confetti, and I just went and it was 50. If they looked at it, it was 50. It was 50 for the 50th anniversary of hip hop. So I
Yeah.
went like that, and they all went like that, thinking I was going to chuck puke on them, and it was confetti. And then I
Yeah.
did all these things, but I met some really good people. I was with Dan Prince and his wife Tess, and we all went to Alcatraz, and in the end, and just had an amazing time. And that sort of blew me up then, because if I can jump back to the UK final, it works perfectly to what we're talking about, what your podcast is about. I had
Yeah.
so many people contact me after that battle because they know who I am from years, and they really thought, I'd come second, come second, come second, come second all the time. But I won the Vestax UK final. It just depends what battle you're in. But I never won the DMC. But almost exclusively, all the emails I've got and text I got were from people our age, my age, and your age, saying you've inspired me to break out the turntables, or just to try and do something different. You wouldn't believe that was the most amazing thing I'd seen. Like people saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, mate, like you inspired me to not give up."
Yeah. That's good.
And then
That's good.
the BBC got on it, and then a vegan magazine got hold of it, and then it just sort of went a bit wildfire. At one point, I had to sign a non-disclosure thing. They were going to make a documentary about it, and unfortunately that fell through. But yeah, I had to sign a non-disclosure because they were trying to get the funding for it for a Netflix thing
Yeah.
for this whole story, and it was amazing. It was on, and it didn't sort of work out, but it sort of put me back in. I thought my DJing sort of career was over. I was sort of boom, that was gone. But it pushed me, and it really helped the business then, because like I could say I'm the UK champ.
Yeah. 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 And it gave a big push to the business. But I think what you're doing with the kids, and is it a charity as well?
It's not a charity because it's a bit difficult to set up a charity, but it's a constituted group, so it's a
Yeah.
bit easier to set up. But what it does, it opens the doors for us to apply for a lot of grants. Like a lot of the bigger grants are still charity based, but before we were individuals. Me and the guy I worked with, Tommy Boost, this guy, he's a breaker, and we were just feeding off other people. Like we'd have to go to an organization, and they would have to apply on our behalf, and then we'd have to wait for them, and it was a nightmare. So I just thought, screw this. I worked for Able, which is just up the road for adults with learning differences, and we had a meeting with the police. This guy Rob actually just emailed me a grant we applied for, and he said you can't apply for it because you're not a constituted group. So I just thought, screw it. I set it up. That was the hardest bit, setting it up with all the the signatories
Yeah.
and all
Well,
that.
paperwork and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad in setting the bank account up. But as soon as I did that, then I can apply for all these grants, and then we got 2 or 3 reasonably good ones. Nothing out like crazy. But then
Mm.
what it does, it's a snowball, because now, like, I've got 2 meetings tomorrow now saying, "Oh, we just saw Hip Hop 12. We just saw Hip Hop 12. Can you do this for our children? Can you do this? Our children's got autism. We've got children, prevention, crime prevention. Can you help with this? We're doing a rap with the Canals and River Trust. We're doing like a rap about the area, and they're all little kids rapping about Wales and about what they love and what they don't like about Wales, and blah blah blah. And
Mm.
it's amazing. Like we did one last night. We have one 6 month one just up the road, and we're coming to the end of a 4 month one we do. But the biggest problem we have is the funding to keep it going, because we find talent, and then we haven't got any more funding to do it, and we don't really
No.
get a lot of help off. I've tried to get long term. We don't really need very much a year to do it, but
Yeah.
money's hard, especially in the arts. But
Yeah. It
back to
isn't
the
it? Yeah.
DMC stuff, it was
That's
awesome.
it.
The
Yes.
DMC, it really sort of changed it for me again. And then I went on to do my own battle, which is this one, which we did in Unstoppable, which we did in Bristol. I met the Dan and Ollie from the Scratch Cafe. They do a once a month scratch jam for anyone for any age or any background. They can go there and learn to scratch and just jam. And we got together. It was my concept, Unstoppable DJ Battle. I've always wanted to do one. Put it on, and it was just amazingly successful. I got 30, 40 sponsors like Technics. I got Deck Saver. I got Rode. I got Rain. I got all these big companies. It was amazing, and we're doing it again this year. But we're sort of in talks with a couple of people trying to get the funding together and putting. We just got the sponsorship packages and send them out to all the DJs, all the companies. So it's put me back in the DJ world, and I love it. You know, it's really good, and I'm starting to get to know a lot of people there, and it really again, it's don't have a lot of money, but I'm actually just doing the things I want to do.
Yeah, do the things you love, mate. And it sounds like you've got obviously the bit between your teeth again in terms of what you used to do in terms of the DMC stuff and stuff like that. And then now you're giving back to the community, and you're bringing the next wave of DJs on, which is what my framework is all about. It's bringing the next set of people on, the next generation in some cases, but just giving back to that community and getting that bit of community spirit. And I think it's fantastic what you're doing.
Oh, thanks, Dean. This year's Unstoppable. We're putting a section in where we're going to try and get 3 children from, say, 8 up to 15. Hopefully they've got some kind of DJing background, because it's quite difficult otherwise, because we haven't got time to tutor them really.
Yeah.
So we're going to be remote, and if we can get them, we're going to get 3 of the turntables. We're looking for Rain. I need to try and contact Rain to see if they will help us out with that, to send us the turntables for the kids. And then we're going to give them one of these decks each for 6 months, and then we get them in, and they have just a battle between them, and then the winner wins one of the turntables, you know?
Cool.
But this is the main thing. It's trying to bring the youth up. Like, I was teaching these kids yesterday how to backspin, which is using 2 of the same record. It's really tricky. It's really, like, most adults couldn't do it. And, you know, some of the kids couldn't do it. You know, they didn't really know what they were doing. You've got to think there's from 6 to about 40. If I had the time, I could create a national champion without even thinking about it. It's just having the funding to do it, because I can't do it for nothing, unfortunately. You know, I've got to move up. I got to live.
Yeah, of course, get that, man. Yeah.
It's amazing. It's hard to try and like one of the ones we just did. We had 25 people sign up, and then only like 7 or 8 turn up. You know, it's crazy. Like, I would have ripped someone's arm off to be able to get on a set of turntables or back in the day. You know, there's too much going on. Like we said, they're run ragged. These kids. They've got football. They've got swimming. They've got ballet. They've got disco dance. They've got ballet. They've got hip hop.
iPads.
And they can't focus on it. Yeah, iPads. And I love the tech, and I love the parents' amazing commitment. But sometimes I just think it's like they just don't want to do it. They just want to sit home and just chill.
They want everything to be sort of landed in a lap, mate. And I think that's taken us full circle back to the start there, mate. Yeah. But no, it's a fantastic story, mate. Yeah. If you can let me know when you're when that's going to be, the Unstoppable stuff, and then the other stuff as well. I'll send you an email after this, and we'll I'll see if I can get it promoted and stuff like that, and we'll go from there, mate. Yeah.
All right, mate. No worries. That's
yeah.
I really appreciate you getting me on. It's I hope it works out for you really well. If it helps you, you know, I talk about a lot of different things there, but the main thing for me is just I'll never give up until I have to. That's about it.
I think it's probably a fitting end to that, because what I do ask my guests is, what's the one piece of advice you could give to the youth growing up, or to people growing up now? What's that one piece of advice that they can get their teeth into?
Well, that is never give up until you have to, because at one point you're going to say in it. And also, I'll say is, depending on what age you are, if you've got a good relationship with your mum and dad and your parents and your family, that is more important than any bling, any watches, any cars, any houses. Absolutely means nothing compared to the loss when you lose somebody. It's pretty tough to cope with, and that's the hardest thing I've gone through. I lost my mum, And then I lost my dad just during a DMC while I was practicing for that. And then I just had the Unstoppable a week before the battle. I lost my beautiful sister. And you just think, what the, what is going on? And it's tough. I'll be honest, I haven't got anyone to talk to about it. I've got my sisters and we meet and we talk, but other than that, I'm on my own. It's like same
Yeah.
with everything. Dudes are on their own. I haven't got a missus to go and catch up to and cry with. It's you've got to try and find someone who's a friend of yours, and like there's nothing wrong with offloading it to somebody else to help you through it. Because
Not at all, mate. No.
this is why we get a lot of problems with people sort of leaving leaving it and just what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Just
of
don't
course.
hear it anymore because
No,
they
no.
just have to channel it. Especially if you go down the booze line and the drugs line, and then you have a problem like this. Like if I'd have been in a situation where I was a weaker person, I think I would have really struggled with that.
Yeah.
So one thing that changed, that mindset made me realize that I can overcome stuff. So don't give up and love your family. That's all I got to say.
Yeah, that's good, mate. Yeah, I appreciate that, pal. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thanks for
So,
asking.
yeah, no worries. Thanks very much. This is Maya Lloyd, and he's been on the Hex Effects podcast. A DJ named Hugh Whackman, formerly DJ XL, and thank you very much for coming on. All the best,
Very
mate,
nice.
and we'll speak soon.
Look after yourself. Best of luck.
Take care.